just lost you guys because we didn't have it set to the Wi-Fi. But that doesn't mean we're not going to do our video for today because now we have the Wi-Fi, you guys. And if you're a doom scroller, you might be doomed. And I don't mean to sound so, terrible about this and negative, but doom scrolling is not a good thing. What is that in the first place? Coming to you by a nice warm fire we got up in here. Doom scrolling is when you mindlessly look through TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. You sit there, you just absorb information. You're not thinking at all. You're not playing any brain games, anything of that nature. It's not cognitively stimulating, and it can have a negative effect on your brain function, your mood, and your life. So how? Well, people that are frequent doom scrollers often have less agreeable trait as an attribute, right? They're less agreeable to things, maybe a little bit tougher to deal with. They're less conscientious, they're less extroverted, right? So they kind of keep to themselves and this and that. And they're more likely to be neurotic. Neuroticism is something that entails being more fearful and anxious about things. You know, you have difficulty managing stress and urges, often accompanied with depression, right? Maybe they're not as easy to get along with, right? They're easily disturbed. Somebody who is neurotic about things. It doesn't necessarily mean you're definitely neurotic if you're doom scrolling, but it's more likely to change your brain chemistry so that you think this way, so that you feel this way, so that you fear things in society. You're more anxious, right? And you kind of have just a tougher time dealing with everyday things. So what is happening in the brain neurologically? What do we have with doom scrolling? Well, we have impaired prefrontal cortex activity, prefrontal cortex function, and that is something that controls higher order functioning, right? And so obviously less higher order functioning is not a good thing if you want to function well. All right, so we have that. We have increased function of the amygdala, stimulation, we should say, of the amygdala. And the amygdala is responsible for processing emotions and fear and risk, right? So you're looking at things in a way where you're kind of worried about what could go wrong instead of being excited about what could go right. It increases levels of cortisol, stress hormone, epinephrine, right, which is good if it's in terms of fat burning, but too much of it and stimulated in the wrong fashion can make you tired. It can make you exhausted eventually. And so that, often these people are tired as well, as easily disturbed and anxious and depressed and mood issues and all these sorts of things. Not able to focus as well and complete tasks and all that kind of stuff. And it's increasing dopamine, right? And it's increasing dopamine in a bad way, right? It's increasing dopamine in a way that is fostering addiction. So you definitely want to try to avoid doom scrolling. And what is this principle here? If we're going to break it down to a real simple principle that's not good, if you're not sure of what to avoid or what to do in life, well, in general, typically, if you're sitting there and you're just consuming and you're not producing, that is not a good thing. Wait a minute, Shane, what about mindfulness techniques? Because you're not doing anything there. I think that's a good example to try to counter that argument, right? And that's not always true, but a lot of the time it is, right? But what about mindfulness techniques like deep breathing and yoga, sitting there, squeezing a stress ball, just focusing on nature, meditating and things like that? You are producing something. You're doing it yourself. You're focusing. When you do brain games, you're focusing. You're trying to achieve something. It's mental stimulation, right? You're training your brain. Right? When you're reading, you're taking in knowledge, right? If you're looking up stuff on your phone, facts, that's totally different, right? It's mentally stimulating. These things are not mentally stimulating. You're just purely consuming. So don't be the consumer, be the producer of things. That generally bodes well. So that's what we got for you guys. I think, so often I see people in public and even at my job all over the place, they're sitting there and just, one, it's poor head posture, right? You just, poor neck posture. You're sitting here, cervical curves getting all straight. There's a lot of pressure coming down on the disc. They're going to get thin over time. Body's going to produce more bone, and the cervical spine is going to press on the nerves. Degenerative disc disease, right? It's no bueno in terms of posture, and it's definitely no bueno in terms of what it's doing for your brain. It even decreases gray matter volume. So what do we mean by that? We mean neuron cell bodies, right? So we're talking about brain cells brain cell bodies. It's lowering the amount of brain cells in certain parts of your brain. So stop doom scrolling. And if you see this When Wellness video, hopefully you weren't sitting there just scrolling through watching stupid shit, right? Hopefully it's somewhat educational, at least some of the things you say, and, you know, get off it. You know, limit your amount of time. If you like to do it, just do it for a little bit and then get off, right? Don't sit there for hours and hours on end and just doom scroll, because a lot of us are guilty of that. At least let it be something educational, as I hope this was in some fashion. Who do we got on here? Say what's up. M. Vaughn, Avalis, how you doing? Mike, Fred, Sion, Mathis, Seville, what's up? Tommy Reed and your male angel. As for now, so we got for you folks. We'll see you tomorrow, baby. Not sure where, not sure when, but we'll see you then. Have an amazing rest of your night. Thank you very much, and happy When Wellness. We'll see you. It's getting hot up in here with the fire. Gotta go cook some food.